In the bustling city of Atlanta, beneath the hum of everyday life, an extraordinary encounter is about to unfold. FBI Special Agent Tara Johnson, a brilliant and highly respected black woman, is driving back to her office after wrapping up months of intense work. She's been tracking a dangerous drug cartel, close to breaking the case wide open. The weight of long hours and mounting pressure doesn't faze her. Tara is driven by a sense of pride and purpose. Yet, as she cruises down the busy streets, her mind replaying vital details of the investigation, something unexpected happens. A flash of blue lights behind her. Surprised, she checks her speedometer. No violations. What could it be? She pulls over, her thoughts swirling. A police car comes to a stop behind her, and out steps Officer Daniels, a tall white officer with a stern expression. His gait is slow, his hand resting casually on the holster of his gun. Tara keeps her composure, rolling down her window. "Good afternoon, officer. Is there a problem?" She asks politely, ready to explain who she is. But the officer doesn't respond the way she expects. He doesn't even acknowledge her FBI badge as he coldly demands her license and registration. There's a tension in the air. Something is off. Daniel's dismissive attitude stings, but Tara remains professional, even as a chilling thought crosses her mind. This isn't just a routine stop. What begins as a simple traffic encounter soon escalates into something far more sinister. Tara, one of the few black women in a predominantly white, male-dominated agency, finds herself caught in a dangerous game of power, prejudice, and authority. But little does Officer Daniels know, this is just the beginning of his reckoning. Tara's heart races as the officer's cold gaze sweeps over her, barely sparing a glance at her FBI badge. Her fingers tremble, but she keeps them steady, holding the badge out a little further. "Officer, I'm a federal agent," she says, her voice calm but firm. "I'm on duty, investigating a dangerous cartel." Her eyes search his for any sign of recognition, but Officer Daniels doesn't respond. Instead, he snatches her license and registration from her hand with barely a word. Tara feels a knot tighten in her stomach. Something is terribly wrong. She's dealt with difficult cops before, but this is different. His eyes remain narrow, his posture tense with an almost palpable disdain. The air feels thick now, heavy with unspoken judgment. The breeze from the passing cars outside suddenly seems too quiet, too distant. It's just her and Officer Daniels in this moment, and his oppressive presence makes her feel small, despite everything she's accomplished. "I said license and registration," he barks again, his voice sharp, his hand still resting on the gun holster. He's not listening. He's not seeing her. And that's what cuts deeper than anything. Tara's eyes flicker briefly to the rearview mirror, almost expecting the world to break apart around her. There are no other officers, no backup, just her, alone with a man who refuses to see her as anything more than a target for his power trip. She swallows hard, steadying herself. "Officer, I've already given you my documents. I'm not resisting, but I need you to understand that I am an FBI agent." Her voice remains controlled, but the tremor underneath is becoming harder to mask. He looks at her, his expression as cold as ice, and for a moment, Tara sees the contempt in his eyes. "Step out of the vehicle." She blinks in shock. She knows her rights. She knows this is wrong. But there's something in his voice that tells her, this isn't a request. It's an order meant to break her, to humiliate her. Her training kicks in, a flash of instinct that tells her not to back down. She's been through worse, high-stress situations, life-threatening standoffs. But this feels different. "I'm complying with your request," she says, her voice steady, her hands visible as she opens the door. But inside, her heart is pounding, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "But I need you to understand that I'm on duty. I have the right to be here." The officer steps closer, ignoring her words. His eyes narrow, and she sees the sneer on his lips before he opens his mouth again. "I don't care if you're the president. Step out of the car now." His voice rises, drawing the attention of a few bystanders on the street. She feels their eyes on her, but it doesn't matter. This moment is about power, and in this moment, Officer Daniels has it. Tara hesitates. She doesn't want to escalate this further, but she's been here before, in situations where pushing back is the only way to protect herself. But not like this. Not with someone who refuses to acknowledge her authority, her dignity, and her very humanity. He raises his voice again, sharper this time. "Are you deaf?" I said. "Step out of the vehicle." His hand moves toward her, and in that split second, Tara knows he's not playing by any rules. He's not trying to help. He's trying to break her. With a sharp exhale, Tara opens the door fully and steps out, her hands still visible. Her body is tense, ready for anything, but she won't give him the satisfaction of seeing her fear. The world around her seems to freeze, even as bystanders continue to murmur. Tara feels the weight of their gaze on her, their quiet judgment. She's an FBI agent, a federal agent, and yet here she is, standing on the side of the road, at the mercy of someone who couldn't care less about her badge, her job, or her rights. Without warning, Daniels grabs her arm, his grip tight and bruising. Tara gasps, her breath hitching as he shoves her against the side of her car. The sharp metal of the vehicle digs into her back. "What are you doing?" Tara protests, her voice laced with anger and disbelief. She struggles for a moment, her body instinctively fighting back. The humiliation crashes over her like a tidal wave, but she forces herself to stay calm. She's been trained for situations like this. But this is different. This is raw. This is personal. "Resisting arrest, huh?" Daniels sneers, his grip tightening as he twists her arm behind her back. The cold sting of the handcuffs biting into her wrists sends a jolt of pain through her body. Tara's mind races. She's been through dangerous situations, high-risk operations, but this is nothing like that. This isn't about justice. This isn't even about the law. This is power, unchecked and unchallenged. And she's on the receiving end. She hears the whispers of the crowd, but no one steps forward to intervene. No one challenges Officer Daniels. The realization hits her like a punch to the gut. She is alone. Alone in a situation where the very system she's fought to protect has turned its back on her. Alone, except for the camera lenses of a few onlookers, capturing every humiliating second. "Let go of me," she grits out through clenched teeth, but Daniels only sneers harder, his eyes flashing with contempt. "You think you can just flash a badge and do whatever you want?" He mocks, his words searing with hatred. His words, his actions aren't just about arresting her. They're about breaking her, tearing her down, piece by piece as the handcuffs snap tighter. Tara's heart races with fury, but she won't give him the satisfaction of seeing her break. She holds her head high, even as the rage builds inside her. Officer Daniels may have the power now, but this isn't over. Not by a long shot. The cold metal of the handcuffs cuts into Tara's wrists as Officer Daniels drags her toward his patrol car, his grip on her arm bruising. She can barely believe what's happening. This was supposed to be a routine traffic stop, a moment to catch her breath before diving back into the fight against a dangerous cartel. Instead, here she is, being dragged through the streets like a common criminal, her authority and her badge completely disregarded by a man who could not be bothered to recognize her. "Stop resisting," Daniels growls, his voice laced with venom. "You think you're above the law?" He shoves her roughly into the back of the patrol car, slamming the door with a force that shakes her bones. Tara's mind races. She's been in the field, faced down deadly criminals, dealt with dangerous situations, but this was nothing like that. This was personal. This was a fight against everything she stood for. Her heart pounds in her chest, but she refuses to let her fear show. She's been through worse. She's been through too much to let a racist cop break her now. But the humiliation, being treated as if she were nothing more than a criminal, despite all her years of service, all the sacrifices she's made, burns deep. Officer Daniels gets in the front seat and starts the car, driving away from the scene with his usual smug expression, not sparing a glance in her direction. Tara's eyes stay fixed on the rearview mirror, watching the city disappear as the distance between her and the life she's built grows. The car comes to a stop in front of a nondescript police station, far from the usual precinct she's familiar with. A cold knot forms in Tara's stomach. This isn't a normal stop. This is no mistake. Daniels is deliberately taking her somewhere away from the watchful eyes of her colleagues and the higher-ups who could actually put an end to this. Tara doesn't wait for him to open the door. She's not going to let him see her crumble. With as much strength as she can muster, she steps out of the patrol car, hands still cuffed in front of her. Her legs feel weak, but she forces herself to walk with purpose, refusing to show any weakness. Daniels marches behind her, his steps heavy, his eyes burning with contempt. He shoves her through the doors of the police station, and for a moment, the oppressive silence of the place settles over her like a thick fog. No one looks up. No one notices her. Tara's mind races. She's an FBI agent, for God's sake. But here, in this sterile, lifeless place, she's just another person to be ignored. Another body to be controlled by a corrupt officer. Inside, the officers barely glance at them as they pass by, their indifference almost more chilling than Daniel's hostility. Tara's chest tightens. She's seen it before, the way people turn a blind eye when the system fails. But this was beyond what she could have ever imagined. The cold shoulder from her fellow officers stings more than anything Daniels could do. He drags her through a hallway, past desks and locked doors, until they reach a small, dimly lit interrogation room. The door slams shut behind her with a force that makes the walls shake. Tara stands in the middle of the room, her body tense, the weight of the situation crushing her. She has no idea what Daniels is planning, but she knows it's not good. He's enjoying this. He's relishing in the control he has over her. And that sick feeling in her stomach tells her he's going to make sure she regrets every second of this. You think you're special, don't you? Daniel spits, his voice low, menacing, flashing that badge around, acting like you're above everyone else. You're nothing. His eyes blaze with fury as he steps closer, the venom in his words slicing through the air. I'm going to show you what happens when you mess with me. Tara's heart races, but her resolve only hardens. She won't break. Not like this. Not for someone like him. I'm not above anyone, she responds, her voice steady, despite the storm of emotions crashing inside her. But you're sure as hell not above the law. Daniels laughs bitterly, the sound echoing in the small room. You think I care about the law? You're in my world now, Agent Johnson. You're going to learn that real quick. Tara's blood boils at the condescension in his voice, but she keeps her eyes locked on his, refusing to look away. He can try to break her, but he won't succeed. Not this time. She takes a deep breath, trying to steady her racing pulse. Her mind races with the possibilities. There has to be a way out of this. There has to be a way to fight back. But in this moment, with the handcuffs biting into her wrists and the world feeling like it's closing in on her, she's forced to confront the crushing weight of the injustice she's facing. You're not going to get away with this, Tara says, her voice a low, determined whisper. She means it. This isn't just about her now. It's about every person who's ever been wronged by the system. It's about justice. It's about making sure men like Daniels can never do this again. Daniel steps closer, his breath hot on her face. For a moment, Tara feels the heat of his anger, the desperation in his eyes, and she realizes he's scared. Scared of being exposed. Scared of being held accountable. And that fear is her weapon. You can't scare me, Tara says, standing taller, despite the fear gnawing at her gut. This will all come out, and when it does, you'll regret every moment of this. Daniel's smirk fades for a split second, and in that moment, Tara sees it, the crack in his armor. But it's gone in an instant, replaced by the same cold, angry expression. He leans in, his voice a harsh whisper. We'll see about that, Agent Johnson. We'll see. As he walks away, Tara stands tall, her heart pounding, but her spirit unbroken. She knows this isn't over. She knows this is just the beginning, and she's ready to fight for what's right. No matter the cost, Tara's stomach tightens as Officer Daniels steers the patrol car away from the busy streets of Atlanta, the city's hustle and bustle gradually fading into the background. The familiar surroundings of her world slip further and further away, replaced by a thick, unsettling silence that wraps itself around her like a suffocating fog. Tara can feel the tension in the air, the heavy weight of uncertainty pressing down on her chest. Something's not right. She's been through dangerous situations before, but this is a different kind of danger. The car slows, and Tara's eyes dart around, trying to make sense of their surroundings. They're not heading toward the usual precinct, the one where she would expect to be processed by familiar faces. No, Officer Daniels is driving her somewhere else, somewhere far from the watchful eyes of the FBI. Her heart races as she starts to piece it together. This isn't a normal arrest. This is a deliberate act of control, of humiliation. He's taking her to a place where no one will intervene, where her voice will be drowned out by the cold, indifferent walls of a forgotten station. The patrol car pulls up to a small, aging police station, tucked away on the outskirts of town. The building is old, its brick facade cracked and worn, a place that's seen better days, if it ever had any. Tara's pulse quickens. This isn't just a routine stop. She's being isolated, deliberately distanced from any chance of help. No backup, no supervisor to call. Just her and Officer Daniels, and the system that has turned its back on her. Get out, Daniels orders as he puts the car in park. His voice is sharp, cold, carrying none of the usual authority she's used to. Tara doesn't flinch. She can feel the bile rise in her throat as he moves to open the door for her. This isn't about a routine arrest anymore. This is power. This is humiliation. And it's personal. Tara's mind races. She knows what she's facing. She knows that this is a game of intimidation, a cruel effort to break her spirit. But she won't give him the satisfaction of seeing her fear. Not now. Not when everything she's worked for is on the line. She straightens her back, refusing to let the handcuffs or the oppressive weight of his gaze make her feel small as she steps out of the patrol car. The starkness of the station hits her. The old building stands like a relic from another time, the windows dark and uninviting. She can hear the faint hum of the fluorescent lights overhead, the sound of her shoes against the cracked pavement, but otherwise, the place is eerily quiet. No bustling officers, no bustling desks, just an empty, hollow space. No one here will help her. No one here will speak up. Daniels walks behind her, his footsteps heavy, his presence looming like a storm cloud. He doesn't say a word as they enter the station, the door creaking loudly as it opens. The interior is just as bleak as the outside. The walls are bare, the furniture worn and outdated. The few officers at the desks barely glance up, their indifference echoing through the empty air. Tara's chest tightens. This is what it feels like to be completely alone. The silence is deafening, and it's suffocating as they pass by the rows of empty desks. Tara feels the eyes of the officers on her, but there's no sympathy. There's no outrage. There's nothing. Just apathy, a coldness that chills her to the bone. She can feel the weight of their indifference pressing down on her, making her feel as though she's not even there. Just another body being processed through the system. Daniels doesn't stop. He doesn't hesitate as he drags her past the front desk, ignoring the few officers who don't even lift their heads. It's like she's invisible, a ghost among the living. Tara clenches her jaw, fighting back the flood of emotions threatening to overwhelm her. This is wrong. She knows it. She feels it deep in her gut. But the reality is stark and undeniable. She's on her own. There's no one here who will stand up for her. He leads her down a narrow hallway, the faint smell of mildew lingering in the air. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, casting a sickly yellow glow that does nothing to ease the growing sense of dread that has settled in Tara's chest. She's been in high-stakes situations before, field operations, shootouts, even close calls with criminals who wanted to kill her. But none of those compare to this. This is worse. This isn't just a matter of survival. This is a matter of her dignity, her identity, and the very foundation of everything she's fought for. They reach the small, dingy interrogation room at the end of the hallway. Tara's heart skips a beat as the door slams open. The room is bare. No windows, no comforts, just a single metal table and 2 chairs. The walls are scratched and stained, the air thick with the smell of years of neglect. It feels like a trap, a place designed to break you, to make you feel small and insignificant. Daniels shoves her into one of the chairs, and Tara's wrists ache as the handcuffs dig deeper into her skin. She doesn't move. She won't give him the satisfaction of seeing her squirm. She won't give him any more power than he already has. As Daniels stands over her, his smirk never faltering, Tara's mind races. She's not sure how much longer she can hold it together. But one thing is certain. She's not going to let him win. Not like this. Not ever. You think you've got this all figured out, don't you? Daniels sneers, his voice low and filled with malice. You think just because you're in the FBI that you can come in here and act like you own the place? Tara looks up at him, her eyes steady despite the whirlwind of anger and frustration bubbling inside her. She won't show him how much he's gotten under her skin. I don't need to own this place to know right from wrong, she says, her voice calm but filled with an unyielding strength. And what you're doing here is wrong. Daniels laughs bitterly, the sound echoing in the empty room. You think you're better than me? His tone is venomous, his eyes burning with something far darker than mere anger. Tara feels the anger rising inside her. She knows she's in danger, but this is no longer just about her. It's about the injustice he's trying to impose on her, and the fight she won't back down from. Not now, not ever. I don't think I'm better than anyone, she says, her voice unwavering. But I know I'm not below you. In that moment, the world outside the interrogation room seems to disappear. There's only the two of them, locked in this battle of wills, this fight for power, control, and justice. And Tara knows one thing for sure. She's not going to let him take everything she's worked for without a fight. The door creaks open with a faint groan, pulling Tara's attention from the shadows of the small interrogation room. She hasn't spoken a word since Daniels left, but her mind is racing, her thoughts tangled in frustration, anger, and uncertainty. Her wrists are sore from the tight handcuffs, and her body is stiff from the awkward position in the chair. Every minute spent in this sterile, oppressive space feels like a small eternity, each second ticking by with the weight of her situation pressing down on her. The figure standing in the doorway isn't Daniels. It's a young officer, his face flushed with nervousness, his eyes darting to the side as if checking for something or someone. His hands tremble as he holds a small file in his hand. His uniform neat, but his stance unsure. Tara's first instinct is to question his motives, to wonder if he's just another cog in the machine of Daniel's corruption. But as his gaze finally meets hers, she sees something different. There's no arrogance in his eyes, no hostility. There's unease, yes, but also a flicker of sympathy. Something she hasn't seen in any of the other officers she's passed by. Her gut tells her that this officer might be her chance to break free, but she can't afford to trust anyone blindly. Not yet. Agent Johnson. He begins cautiously, his voice quiet, almost as if he's afraid of saying the wrong thing. I'm Officer Mitchell. His words are halting, unsure, and he glances at the door again as if checking for someone. I was told to process you for holding, he adds quickly, but his words hang in the air, charged with a tension that feels almost tangible. Tara watches him closely, her heart pounding in her chest. She's not sure if this is a moment of hope or another trap, but the look in his eyes makes her believe, just for a fleeting second, that he might be someone who sees the wrongness in what's happening here. I'm sure you know what's going on, Tara says softly, her voice measured, but a thread of frustration edges her words. This isn't right. I've been taken into custody without cause. No reason for this violation of my rights. Mitchell shifts uncomfortably from foot to foot, his fingers twitching slightly at his side. He looks down at the file in his hands as if searching for something, but then his gaze flits back up to her, meeting her eyes. There's a brief moment of silence, and in that quiet, Tara can feel the conflict in him. He doesn't want to be part of this. He knows something's wrong. She can see it in the way his eyes flicker, in the way he won't hold her gaze for too long. I know, Mitchell mutters, almost to himself, as if ashamed of something. I'm sorry. This isn't how things should be. He takes a deep breath, his shoulders slumping slightly, and for a brief moment, Tara sees him as something more than just another officer following orders. She sees him as someone who's caught between what's right and what's expected of him. Tara leans forward in her chair, trying to make herself as steady as possible. "Then help me," she urges quietly, her voice barely a whisper. She doesn't know if she can trust him, but something in his words, something in his hesitation, makes her believe that he might just be her way out. "Please, Officer Mitchell, you're a good person. I can tell. Don't let this man, Daniels, get away with this." Mitchell's eyes widen at her words, and for a moment, he looks like he might say something more. But just as quickly, his expression hardens, and his eyes flick to the door again. He glances at the hallway nervously, as if expecting someone to burst in at any moment. "I don't have much time," Mitchell says, his voice low and hurried now. "Daniels, he's in charge, and he's not going to let anyone get in his way." He swallows hard, his jaw tightening with a mix of fear and resolve. "But you're right. This isn't right. I can't stand by and let him do this." Tara's heart skips a beat. Could it be? Could this officer really be different? Could he be the one to help her turn the tide? But before she can process her thoughts, Mitchell steps forward, closing the distance between them. He leans in slightly, lowering his voice to a near whisper. "I've seen what Daniels does to people who cross him," he says, his tone laced with both fear and anger. "He's got the whole department wrapped around his finger. But He pauses, swallowing the lump in his throat. "I can't let you go down for something you didn't do. I can't just let you disappear like this." Tara can hear the raw emotion in his voice, the fear of what might happen to him if Daniels finds out that he's helping her. But she also hears something else, something stronger, something that tells her Mitchell might be the key to getting out of this nightmare. There's a spark in his words, a flicker of rebellion that she can latch onto. For the first time since this whole ordeal began, Tara feels a glimmer of hope. "What do you want me to do?" Tara asks, her voice steady but filled with urgency. "I'm not asking for a favor. I'm asking for what's right." Mitchell hesitates, and for a moment, he seems torn, the weight of his decision pressing heavily on his shoulders. But then, with a deep breath, he glances around the room, checking to make sure no one else is watching. He walks to the door and cracks it open slightly, peering down the hallway before turning back to Tara. "Stay calm," he says, his voice low but urgent. "I'm going to try and buy you some time. I can't promise anything, but I'll do what I can." Tara doesn't say a word. She just watches him closely, her heart racing with anticipation. In that moment, everything feels like it's hanging by a thread. Her future, her freedom, everything she's fought for, just a moment away from being lost forever. But maybe, just maybe, Officer Mitchell is the thread she needs to pull her out of this nightmare. And with that, Tara nods, silently willing him to succeed. She knows she can't fight this battle alone, but for the first time in hours, she doesn't feel completely powerless. Tara's pulse is a rapid drumbeat in her ears as she watches Officer Mitchell step back from the door. The weight of his words still hangs heavily in the air, mingling with the fear and uncertainty that's gnawing at her from all sides. There's a tense stillness in the room, a quiet before the storm, as she waits for Mitchell's next move. Every part of her body is screaming to act, to make a plan, but she knows she has to trust him, if only for a moment. He's her only hope in a world that's suddenly turned upside down. Mitchell glances over his shoulder once more, his face etched with indecision, before he turns to her, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'll try to create a distraction. When I do, you need to move fast. Don't look back. Don't hesitate." He says it with a kind of finality that makes Tara's stomach twist. She's seen people caught between doing what's right and doing what's safe before, but there's something raw, almost desperate, in his eyes now. He doesn't know if this will work, but he's willing to risk everything. Tara nods, her heart hammering in her chest. This is it. This is the moment she's been waiting for. She can't afford to doubt now, not with everything on the line. If she's going to escape this nightmare, she has to trust Mitchell. She has to trust that he's as determined to get her out of here as she is to get away from Officer Daniels and the corrupt system he represents. The seconds stretch on endlessly as Mitchell steps toward the door. He pauses, glancing back at Tara, a silent promise in his eyes. "Stay calm. I'll be back." Tara swallows, her throat dry, and watches him slip into the hallway, his footsteps muffled by the thick, oppressive silence of the station. She's alone again, but this time, the stillness feels different. There's a flicker of hope, a faint thread of possibility threading through the tension that has suffocated her since she was dragged into this hellhole. Every nerve in her body is on edge, every muscle coiled and ready to spring. She sits still, her hands still cuffed, the cold metal biting into her skin. Her eyes never leave the door, her breath shallow and quick, as she waits for Mitchell's signal. She doesn't know what he's going to do, but she has no other choice but to wait and hope. Then, a sudden noise, a shout, followed by a crash, breaks the silence. The sound is so jarring, so out of place, that Tara's heart leaps into her throat. Mitchell's distraction has begun. She can hear the hurried footsteps of several officers in the hall, their voices rising in confusion and alarm. For a moment, there's chaos, an energy that pulses through the building, and Tara knows this is her chance. Her hands tremble as she moves to stand, the pain from the cuffs now a dull throb in her wrists. She presses her back against the wall, her breath quickening. This is it. She's not going to wait for someone else to save her. She's not going to sit idly by while Officer Daniels tries to strip away everything she's worked for. She'll take control of this moment, her freedom, her dignity, her future, and make it her own. The door is just a few feet away, and she has to move fast. Tara steps forward, the sound of her shoes barely audible against the cold floor. Every step feels like a loud crash in her ears. She reaches the door and pauses, her hand on the handle, her body poised like a spring ready to snap. The noise outside is growing louder, but there's no sign of Daniels yet. With a deep breath, she pushes the door open just enough to slip through. She moves quickly, her eyes scanning the hallway as she takes her first steps into the unknown. The chaos outside the interrogation room is palpable, the officers rushing past in a flurry of confusion, but none of them notice her. Tara's mind races as she darts into the nearest hallway, her steps quiet but urgent. The familiar feeling of being pursued, of being the target of someone's wrath, floods her senses. But this time, she's not the prey. This time, she's the one in control. She moves with purpose, down the hall, past the security station, her heart in her throat as she hears footsteps approaching from behind. She can't afford to look back. Not now. Not when she's so close to the end of the hallway. A door to the outside world beckons. She can almost taste the fresh air, feel the freedom just within reach. Tara picks up her pace, her breath coming faster now, her legs aching from the strain. She reaches the door, and with one swift motion, she pushes it open, stepping into the night. The cold night air hits her face like a splash of water, and for a brief moment, she just stands there, letting the cool breeze fill her lungs. She's outside. She's free. But she knows it's not over. Not yet. The sound of a car engine in the distance makes her stomach drop. They'll be looking for her. They'll be coming after her, and she has to keep moving. She can't stop, not now. Tara doesn't hesitate. She turns on her heel and begins to run, her feet pounding the pavement, her mind focused on one thing, getting away. She doesn't know where she's going, but she knows she can't stay here. Not while Daniels is out there, hunting her. Her heart races, her lungs burning, but she doesn't stop. She can't. She's been in control of every situation before, but this is different. This is her life, her future, and she's not going to let anyone take it away from her as the night wraps around her. She pushes forward, her every step a promise that she will not be broken, that she will not be silenced. This is her fight, and she's not going to lose. Tara's breath comes in ragged gasps as she sprints down the alley, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The city is still, eerily quiet, but her senses are on high alert, every sound amplified. The rush of her footsteps, the pounding of her heart. Everything feels louder now. She's free, but she knows it won't last long. Officer Daniels is still out there, and he won't let her slip away without a fight. Her mind races with the image of Daniels, that cold smirk, the cruel authority in his eyes. He'll be coming after her. She can feel it in her bones. His obsession with control won't let him rest until she's back in his grasp, under his thumb where he thinks she belongs. She won't let that happen. Not now. Not ever. Tara takes a sharp turn, her legs burning with the effort, but she forces herself to keep going. The shadows of the alley stretch out in front of her, dark and unforgiving, but she doesn't slow down. She can't afford to. Every step she takes is a step further away from him, from the suffocating grip he tried to put on her. But she knows Daniels. She knows how far he'll go to make an example out of someone. And she's his target. A distant sound cuts through the night air. The screech of tires on asphalt, the growl of an engine revving up. Tara's stomach drops. They've found her without looking back. She speeds up, her eyes darting to the side streets, calculating her next move. The sound of the engine grows louder, echoing in her ears like a warning. She pushes harder, ignoring the burn in her legs, the weight of her fear. She can't let him catch her. Not when she's so close to getting away. But then, from behind her, the familiar sound of heavy footsteps thunders through the alley. Daniels. He's not far behind. Tara's pulse spikes, and she doesn't dare slow down to look. The adrenaline is flooding her system, but her mind remains sharp. Every fiber of her being is screaming for her to run faster, to escape. She's almost there. She just has to make it to the end of the alley, where the streetlights wait to guide her to safety. She hears him now, his voice carrying through the night, a shout of fury and frustration. "You can't outrun me, Agent Johnson." His words are laced with venom, and Tara's stomach twists. He's right on her heels, his presence a dark shadow in the distance. But she won't stop. She won't let him win. Her mind races with thoughts of how to escape. She needs help. She needs backup. But there's no time. She's alone. The end of the alley is in sight, the faint glow of streetlights offering the only sign of hope in the darkened world around her. She can see it now, the intersection ahead, the open road where she'll have a chance to lose him, to disappear into the night. But just as she's about to break into the open, she hears the unmistakable sound of a car screeching to a halt in front of her. She's trapped. Daniel's car is parked just ahead, blocking her escape. The engine revs again, and Tara's heart skips a beat. She turns to face him, her back to the street, and there he is, Officer Daniels, his face twisted with anger, his eyes burning with that sick sense of power he's always worn like armor. "You think you can run?" he sneers, stepping out of the car, his hand reaching for the baton at his belt. "This ends tonight." Tara's chest tightens. She's running out of time, out of options. Her hand instinctively moves to her waist, where her gun should be, but it's gone. Daniels took it from her back at the station. She's defenseless. Her only weapon now is her will to survive. Tara squares her shoulders, taking a deep breath. "You're wrong, Daniels," she says, her voice steady despite the fear threatening to overwhelm her. "This ends with you, not me." Daniels sneers, taking a step closer, his baton glinting in the streetlight. "You think you can stop me? You're nothing. Just another target." His voice drips with disdain, and Tara can feel the hate in every syllable. But she stands her ground, her eyes locked on his. She won't let him break her. Not now, not ever. The game is over. It's her turn to win. The tension in the air is unbearable. Tara stands her ground, facing Daniels with nothing but sheer willpower to protect her. He's just a few feet away now, the baton in his hand swinging lightly with each step he takes, a dangerous gleam in his eyes. Her breath is shallow, her heart pounding in her chest, each beat pushing her closer to the edge. She's cornered, her options dwindling, the overwhelming weight of the situation crushing her. But she won't give in. She won't let him take everything she's fought for. "You think you're going to get away, don't you?" Daniels taunts, his voice low and filled with venom. "You're not special. You're nothing. I'm going to make sure you never forget who's in control here." Tara's hands are trembling, but she clenches her fists at her sides, determined not to show fear. She's been through too much to let him break her now. The anger inside her is like a fire burning through her veins, but she channels it into strength. She won't be intimidated. Not by him, not by anyone. But just as Daniels takes another step toward her, the sound of sirens suddenly cuts through the silence of the night, sharp and unmistakable. The unmistakable wail of police cars in the distance. Tara's heart leaps in her chest, the first spark of hope flickering in her mind. Maybe, just maybe, she won't have to face this alone. Daniels freezes, his head snapping toward the sound. The sirens are growing louder, closer. Tara's mind races. She knows the cavalry is coming, but she can't let him know it. She has to hold her ground just a little longer. But Daniels isn't fooled. He knows what the sirens mean. His eyes flash with a mix of panic and rage. "This isn't over, Agent Johnson," he growls, his hand tightening on the baton. "You think backup is going to save you? You're delusional." Tara doesn't flinch. Her eyes stay locked on his, her voice steady despite the fear creeping into her chest. "It's over, Daniels. You've lost." For a moment, everything seems to stop. Time stretches, the air thick with the weight of what's to come. But then, in the distance, headlights flash through the alleyway, cutting through the darkness. Tara doesn't need to look to know what's coming. The police arrive, backup, just as promised. Officers pour out of the cars, their presence filling the alley, surrounding Daniels. The sound of their boots pounding the pavement echoes in Tara's ears, and her heart skips a beat as the circle around Daniels tightens. Daniels stares at the officers, his face twisted in disbelief and fury. He's been cornered, his plans unraveling faster than he can react. His grip on the baton falters, his face flushing with anger and fear. "This isn't over," he spits, his voice full of venom. "You can't do this. I'll make sure you all regret this." But the officers don't flinch. They move in swiftly, efficiently, restraining him with practiced ease. His resistance is futile, his power slipping through his fingers. Daniels is no longer in control. Tara stands there, watching as he's handcuffed and pulled toward one of the patrol cars. The weight of everything that's happened crashes into her, and for the first time in what feels like forever, she allows herself a breath of relief. She did it. She's free. But as she watches Daniels being driven away, the anger still burning in her chest, she knows this is only the beginning. The fight isn't over. It's far from over. There's so much more to uncover, so many more to expose, and she won't stop until justice is truly served. For now, though, she stands tall, her head held high. She's been knocked down, dragged through the dirt, but she's still standing, and she will never let anyone take her down again. Tara stands in the aftermath, the weight of what she's just experienced settling in her bones. The adrenaline that's been coursing through her veins begins to ebb away, replaced by a heavy sense of relief. The officers are no longer just surrounding Daniels. They're securing the area, ensuring everything is handled properly. For the first time in hours, she can finally breathe, her shoulders dropping from the tension that has gripped her since this nightmare began. She's free, but that freedom doesn't come without a cost. The journey she's been on, facing racial discrimination, being wrongfully detained, and fighting for her own dignity, has left its mark. It hasn't been easy, but this moment, standing tall despite everything that has tried to break her, is a testament to something more powerful than fear. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the strength that lies in standing up for what's right, no matter the cost. As Tara watches Daniels being driven away, she realizes that this battle was never just about one man. It was about a system, a culture of silence and abuse of power that needs to change. It was about the countless people who faced the same injustices, the same discrimination, without the chance to fight back. This moment isn't just a personal victory. It's a message that says, no one should ever feel powerless. No one should ever be made to feel small. We all have the right to stand tall and fight for what is right. But that message doesn't end with Tara's story. It's a lesson for all of us. Every time we encounter injustice, Every time we see someone being wronged, we have the choice to act, to step up, to speak out. It's easy to turn a blind eye when things don't directly affect us. But Tara's story shows us that staying silent, standing by, only allows the cycle of abuse to continue. We all have a responsibility to stand against injustice. It doesn't matter how big or small the battle seems. Every action counts. Tara could have walked away. She could have let fear or exhaustion take over and submitted to what Daniels wanted. But she didn't. She chose to fight. She chose to rise above the oppression, to stand firm in her truth, no matter how hard it was. And that choice led to her freedom, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally so. As we reflect on Tara's journey, let's ask ourselves, how many times have we seen something wrong and stayed silent? How many opportunities have we missed to make a difference, to stand with someone who needed help? Tara's story is a powerful reminder that it's never too late to take action, to fight for what's right, and to make a stand, even when the odds seem impossible. Her journey may not be over, but it has already taught us invaluable lessons. We all have the power to change the world, to challenge the status quo, and to create a future where justice and equality prevail. Tara's courage and strength inspire us all to keep going, to keep pushing, and to keep fighting for what's right. If Tara's story resonated with you, if you felt the power of her courage and determination, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Share this video with others who need to hear this message of hope and resilience. Let's spread the word and create a movement where we stand together, stronger than ever. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, the fight for justice isn't over. It starts with each one of us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep standing tall. Keep fighting for what's right.